Met Dr. Chanavaz about 25 years ago. He was an ardent supporter of the American Academy of Implant Dentistry, and he was really a pioneer in the field of integrating academics with implant dentistry. In Europe, it's very hard to get a Master of Science degree in implant dentistry because there existed none. So it was one of Dr. Bob James' vision to have a graduate program, so was Dr. Hill Tatum. And Dr. Hill Tatum apparently influenced Dr. Chanavaz quite a bit. He took the ball and ran and started a Master of Science program in implant dentistry in the University of Lille. And many of our AAID alumni, or rather our credential members, are graduates of the program. They became credentialed by being in the program, and we had a pathway to take all of his graduates that finished the Master of Science program in Lille, and they became credentialed in the academy. So we had a tremendous influx of dentists from Europe who became credentialed in our academy through this pathway. So much credit to him. He brought a lot of academic influence to AAID, and we are very, very fortunate to have had the program at that time. And I can go on and on about his academic prowess. He was really a great professor, and all of that, made a big difference and a big impact.
It is such a pleasure, such an honor to be able to have an opportunity to say something significant about Dr. Chanavaz. As he knows, he was a good friend to you and me. Dr. Chanavaz was a dear friend, personally and to the Academy. He was very gracious with his time and knowledge. An anatomy professor at the University of Lille who became interested in implant dentists about the 1980s. This was a time when implant dentistry was not taught or welcomed at a university residency program. Dr. Chanavaz went on to apply his knowledge of head and neck anatomy to implant dentistry. He was a full-time professor at the University of Lille for his students and a residence as well as globally at various university and implant programs. Dr. Chanavaz was a prolific teacher. He started one of the first and perhaps the first university academic-based implant programs in the world. He graciously hosted many of us at the University of Lille for those who befriended him and were interested in his application of head and neck anatomy to our treatment planning. I and Dr. Paul Johnson spent a week at the University of Lille as his guest. It was a great experience, informative, very professional, at an academic level that most of us had never previously experienced. The after-hour meals and wines were difficult to forget. He knew how to host and to entertain. Our time with Dr. Chanavaz changed our future approach to the treatment of implant dentistry. He attended and/or lectured our annual meetings, as you recall, every year, bringing with him 10 or 20 of his residents annually. He encouraged them to become credentialed members and strongly recommended that they become international fellows. If you knew Dr. Chanavaz, you'd know what strongly recommended meant. Dr. Chanavaz was a gentleman. He was a scholar, a professor, and a loyal friend to all who knew him. Thank you.
Dr. Chanavaz, I recall I first heard him at a national meeting, and Dr. Hill Tatum introduced him. So then I had the pleasure, at a later time, we went out to dinner. So I had a chance to talk about his family and his experiences. Then he invited me to come over, and I spoke to his students that he had at the university where he was teaching. So I know that he was an extremely good friend of Dr. Tatum's, and so we're honored to have Dr. Chanavaz receive the highest award that the Academy gives for people who are willing to give back.